Hi, my name is Wando, and today we're going to be making a heart bracelet with a twist. Now, I'm just going to explain a bit about the bracelet. So, we have five parts. We have the loop, we have the part before the slits, we have the split, the part after the slit, and the ties. And you can see this split here, which is just like an individual heart instead of like the double heart pattern that's on the screen. Now, about the loops. I'm not going to be showing you how to make a loop in this tutorial, but if you like to make a double loop like what I'm showing you on screen, I would advise you to use the other tutorial so you can see what you need to divide and what you don't need to. And then for my bracelets, I made a double color loop, but for this tutorial, I made a single color loop. Again, I'm not going to be showing you how I make this loop. I'll leave the tutorial linked in the description. Now I'm just going to tape my string and we'll start with our bracelet. We're going to be making a double triangle start. As you can see with this bracelet here, a double triangle start. We'll get started with the right side, which is my preferred side most of the time. So we're going to divide our bracelet into two. So we're going to put two blue and two pink on each side. So each side will have four strings, two strings of each color. And then starting with the right portion of this part, we're going to take our strings in the order we want them to be. So I would like my heart, the outside, to be made of pink, this part to be made of pink, and then the inside, which is going to be the proper heart, to be blue, because that's my lighter color. That's what I want. So I'm going to start by taking my right string, preferably one you use for the loop, and then make a backward knot over the remaining three strings together at once. I don't think I mentioned my tutorial is not for beginners. This is more like an intermediate. Now take the next color of string. In my case, that's going to be blue. So I'm going to take that string and make a backward knot over those two strings together. We are going to take the pink string because that's our last one. We're going to make one backward knot over the blue string. And since that's the only string remaining, this is going to be the last knot we make for the triangle start on this right portion here. And now we're just going to move those strings to one side out of the way so we can do the same thing on the left portion. But on this left portion, we're going to be using the exact same arrangement, order of strings, but we're going to be making forward knots instead of backward knots. Now we're going to be following the same order again. So take the pink string and make a forward knot over these strings together. Now put that string on one side, take the next string, which is going to be blue, and make a forward knot over the other strings, the remaining two strings together. Now for the last knot, we're going to take the pink string and we're going to make one forward knot over the blue one. And now that we have done this, we're just going to start. So let me put the pattern up on the screen and see if you can follow me. We're going to take the two strings that are currently in the middle. That will be the pink strings, the ones we first used to make the beginning knots in this tutorial. And then we're going to make a forward knot. So then we're going to use the left string and make a forward knot over the right middle string. Now push the left middle string to one side. Take the next string from the right, that will be the next blue string. And we're going to make a backward knot over the red string. That's the one that's currently in the middle for the right. And now we've done that, move that white string or the pink string to one side. Go to the left, take the left middle string, that's the pink one, and take the next string, that's also going to be the blue one. So now we're going to make 2 forward knots with this string. So the first forward knot will be over the left middle string, and then the second one will be over the blue string that's currently moved to the middle too. And there, this is what we have. So now to continue, we're going to take the next pink string from the right portion. So we're taking the second to the last string, counting from the edge, or second string counting from the edge. Now we're going to make 2 backward knots, one over the pink, one over the blue. So moving this string from the second string on the edge to the middle. Now we're going to take that second string, that pink string again, the second string from the right edge, and we're going to make 1 forward knot over the string on the edge. One forward knot over that blue string there. Now we're going to push that to one side. And going back to the other side, we're going to take the pink string there, and we're going to make 3 forward knots. So 1 forward knot over the pink, then 1 over blue, and then the last one will be 1 forward knot over the string that's currently in the middle. So that's 3 forward knots. Now usually I would segment knot this, but because I don't want to confuse you during this tutorial, I'm just going to push this right portion to one side and get started on the left side. So we're going to put this whole right side and move it towards the right and out of the way, like that. And now we're going to repeat everything we did on this side here. So I'm not going to talk throughout this part. I'm just going to be showing you, and I'm going to actually make this part a little faster because, well, you already know what you're going to do. You've done it on the previous side, but I'm showing you again just in case you're confused. So we're not going to be able to make the forward knot over this side because, well, we need it for our To complete our start, well, we also need that part to connect the left and the right sides together. So I'm just going to ignore those two strings for now, and I'm just going to continue making this other side. And instead, I'm going to make a backward knot here. Now we're going to go all the way back to our right side, and we're going to take the second string counting from the edge, and we're going to make two backward knots over the next two strings with that blue string. So we're going to use the blue string and make a backward knot over the first blue string and the pink string. And now that we're done with that part, we're finally going to make the middle part, which means we're going to take the two strings that are in the middle and two strings of the left that are in the middle. Now we're going to take the two blue strings, that's the original strings that are actually stuck in the middle, and we're going to make a forward knot according to the pattern on the screen. I'm making a forward knot. Now you have to be very careful with this knot and make sure that it stays, because this one can be very tricky. So I made my first half and I made the second half, so I'll make them as tight as possible. And now I'm going to take the next string, which is going to be the pink string. I'm talking about the next string on the right. So I'm going to take the next one, which is going to be pink string, and I'm going to make a backward knot over that string. And now, like the picture on the screen, we're going to make 3 forward knots. So take the next 3 strings, because we're going to be making 3 forward knots, so that's going to be 1 blue, 1 pink, 1 blue. And now that we're done with that, we're going to take the next, we're going to go to the right edge. I'm going to take the string on the edge and make 3 backward knots. There'll be 1 backward knot over the blue, 1 over the pink, and 1 over the blue. Now this is basically a chevron, because that's it. So now we're going to go to the other side here. Now remember, the strings that are connected, there's a pink string beside that we needed to make a backward knot over the purple string. So we're going to make that the forward knot over the blue string. So we're going to make that forward knot. Then we're going to take that string and we're going to make 6 more forward knots using that same string. So the knot I'm making now is the knot that's in the middle, connecting the two strings. And then I'm going to make 5 more knots now. Sorry, 4 more knots now. And this is also basically a chevron. So we have 2 chevron knots. This is the first one. So now that we're done with this side, we're going to move all the way to the left side. So firstly, we're going to make our heart. So we're going to take the blue strings there and make 2 backward knots. And now to continue from where we are, we're going to go to the other side, which is the second to the last string, or the second string on the left edge. We're going to use that string to make 3 forward knots. So now we're going to pick up our string that's currently in the middle, the pink string, and we're going to make 3 backward knots with that string. And now we're going to take the string on the left edge and make 4 forward knots using that string. Okay, so I'm going to try my best to segment knot this. We're going to start with the right side and take the string on the edge and make a chevron, which is just going to be you making 3 backward knots. And now taking the second to the last string and making a forward knot over the last string on the edge, or the first string on the edge. Now we're going to move to the middle, where we're going to take the blue string that's there and make 5 forward knots with that string. So I'm moving that string from the middle to, well, the other side, below the heart, to complete our chevron. So I'm going to go a bit off script now and just make the beginning of the heart. So I'm just going to take my second string on the edge, which is going to be my pink string, and make 2 backward knots. And then with that same string, that same position, sorry, I'm going to take the pink string there and I'm going to make 1 forward knot over the string on the edge. So I'm doing what I did before previously, so at this point we've already started repeating what I started showing you at the beginning of this tutorial. And now we're just going to go back to the middle and move towards the left portion. So we're going to take the blue string on the left, that's in the middle on the left, and we're going to make 3 backward knots. And now we're going to pick up the string that's currently on the left edge and we're going to use that string to make 4 forward knots. Like what we did on the other side, we're just basically repeating what we do on the right side and on the left side. Because I'm segment knotting, if I was going row by row, I'll be repeating the exact same steps. Now remember, we're going to take the second string on the edge and we're going to use that string to make a backward knot over the string that's currently on the edge. That's the blue one over the pink one. And there. And now I'm just going to show you how I make the middle. From this point now, I'm not going to go really in depth because I have shown you everything minus this part, so I'm only going to be showing you what to do here. So take the strings in the middle. Now we're going to make a forward knot with those strings. So one forward knot, and now take the string to the right of that string on the right, and then make a backward knot over that pink string. And then now I'm just going to take that same pink string and make 3 forward knots. Now this is because I'm segment knotting and I cannot stop because it's to potentially ruin my knotting. So I'm just going to make 3 forward knots with that string. And now I'm just going to go back to the middle and I'm going to take the blue string. Well, there's the current pink string that's in the middle. I'm going to take the blue string on the other side of that and I am going to make that. But I probably just want to make this other knot. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to push that to one side and complete my knots. Yes. So I'm just going to make 2 forward knots using that blue string there. Now when we're done with this part, when we finish making this last forward knot, you realize our strings are in the exact same position they were when we finished making the double triangle start. So now if you look at them, this is the exact position. So we're going to start on the right and then make a backward knot, then go to the left and make a forward knot. I hope you can remember this part where we had like 6 forward knots when we started. So now I'm just not going to bother to explain anymore since I've explained a lot. I'm just going to, I'm just going to skip to the end of this tutorial. Well, not to the end of the tutorial, I mean to the end of this part. So I'm going to make 5 hearts and I'm going to meet you at the end of the 5th heart. After your first chevron, I'll meet you after your first chevron, which is the end of the heart. The 5th heart, remember. And here we are now at the point where we're finally going to make this split here. So what we're going to do, we're just going to divide our bracelet into 2. I'm going to be starting with my right side as usual. So with the right side, I'm just going to be doing everything I was doing before, but the difference is I'm not going to be joining it. So all those knots that you used to wait to make and stuff, you're not going to have them here. No, not at all. So at the end of my heart, we're going to get started by making the 2 backward knots. And then we're going to take that same string, second string from the edge, and we're going to make our forward knot with that one. Moving over to the other side, we're going to take the string on the second string on the middle there, and I'm going to make 3 forward knots. So we're just doing the same thing, doing different so that we don't have to be worried about our left side anymore. And now we're going to make a take the two last strings on the middle from the middle and make a backward knot with the second or the second string on the one in the middle. And now what we're going to do is to go to the right edge again and take that blue string and make two backward knots with it. Now moving to the other edge, we're going to take that string and make three forward knots. Now we're going to go to the edge of the right and we're going to make our first row of chevron, which in this case is going to be three backward knots on the right side. And now on the left side, we're taking that string from the middle and we're going to make four forward knots. Now, you know, usually or before we would have made this, we'll have connected this to the left side. But like I said, we're splitting, which is when we're going to divide the pattern in half. So we don't need to do that anymore. We're just going to be knotting like we would if this was like the pattern only, which is what I'm referring to what I have on screen. Talking too much. And now we're going to make our second row of chevron. We're going to be repeating this step again. Take the string on the edge from the right and make three backward knots. But before we go to the other side, we're going to take those last strings on the edge, use the second string and make a forward knot over the last string on the edge. Move them to one side. Now go to the middle, take the string there and make four forward knots. Now, in case I forgot to mention this, I have a tutorial for this pattern because someone submitted this pattern on Bracelet book. So there's a tutorial for this, just in case you're wondering. Now on the middle there, take the two last string, the second string, and make one backward knot over the last string. And I think this from this place here is familiar. So we're going to take the red string again, second from the edge, and make two backward knots. And before we move to the other side, we're going to take that same second string on the edge, a different one but same color, and we're going to make a forward knot over the last string. Moving to the middle part, we're going to take the second string from there and make three forward knots. And then we're going to take the second string again and make one backward knot over the one on the edge or the middle. And then this is where we are going. This is where I'm going to stop for now, and we're just going to continue making this. I made 5 hearts and I stopped at the end of the fifth one again. So we're going to make 5 on the right side and 5 on the left side and stop on the fifth one. Now this is a tip. Remember when I told you your bracelets are going to be divided? Okay, take your regular size of your wrist and divide that into 3. Each part should equal to that size. So this is me twisting, and I'm going to twist my right over my left because I find that oddly sweet. I actually like this. So I'm just going to show you how to connect it, and that will actually be all for this tutorial. So I'm not going to add extra tape to this so that you guys can see it much better. Okay, so I'm going to take half of my string on the right and half of my string on the left. And what I am going to be doing right now, you know what, I'm just going to go to my right side and I'm going to take the string on the edge there, and I'm going to make my my second chevron row. Remember, I said we stopped at the end of our fifth heart, so this is where we're going to be beginning from. So I'm making 3 backward knots with that string so that it's easier for me to connect. Like, you know what, I will just show you. Then don't forget the forward knot we always make on the edge with the second string over the one on the edge. There. So now we're going to move back to the middle, but move that string there. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the 2 strings that are currently in the middle of both bracelets, which is going to be the blue string there. And I'm going to take the one from the left, and I'm going to use that string and make 5. Yeah, I'm going to make 5 forward knots using that string, which is me connecting the 2 sides again, because remember we're coming back from our splits, and I'm just connecting 2 sides, right and the left. And then I'm going to continue making these knots so that I don't stop, and it's kind of tightening my knots and not giving any space to unravel. And now I'm just going to work a bit more on my bracelet to show you that we're going to be repeating the same thing we did at the beginning of this tutorial again. I am not going to explain that again because I'm very sure you're tired of hearing it. But I'm just going to make a few more knots so you can actually see what I am doing. And I started this bracelet with a loop and then a double triangle start, and I'm going to end it with a double triangle start like you've seen in my other bracelet. I'm not going to be showing you how I end this bracelet because I'm currently at 33 minutes and this is a pretty long tutorial. And it is not an alpha bracelet, it's a normal Frenchy bracelet. I don't want tutorial to be this long because I don't think anybody wants to watch it for that long either. If you've stuck around this far, I just want to say thank you for watching, even though the audio quality is not quite good today. I hope you have a nice time making this bracelet, and bye!